It was a Swiss doctor who first suggested that giant plastic balls could be used for health purposes, and Swiss balls, as they became known, soon became very popular. Many people believe that sitting on a Swiss ball is an effective way of building your muscles. Sports watches measure how far and how fast you walk or run. Most can also measure your heart rate and how many calories you burn. They're really beneficial as they encourage people to be as active as possible. As soon as you turn the watch on, it starts working and can tell you how far you've walked or run. Unfortunately, controlled studies still have a number of limitations. The first is ethics. It would be problematic to make one group of people smoke and to force someone addicted to smoking not to smoke, and in fact laws stop scientists from doing such studies. There's also the issue of paying enough people to take part in the study for long enough time to make the study meaningful. Soil is the top layer of the Earth's surface, mostly created from weathered rock. It is made up of varying amounts of minerals, humus, or decayed organic matter, and useful living creatures like worms. The finest rock particles within soil forms sticky clay, the medium particles became silt, and the coarsest constitute sand. An eclipse is an astronomical event in which light from one planetary body is blocked by other planets such as the Moon or Earth. The Sun, Earth, and Earth-Moon are all involved in two kinds of eclipses. A solar eclipse occurs when light from the Sun is blocked by the Moon. Scientists have noticed that whales have small bumps on their fins. By putting similar bumps on the wings of airplanes, they've been able to increase efficiency by about 32%, which saves a lot of fuel. There are also bumps on the underside of lotus leaves that help keep them clean. Paint manufacturers have already invented a paint that uses this design to help keep walls clean every time. Exercise bikes are a common sight in gyms everywhere and are used by a wide range of people. Parents can even buy exercise bikes that rock the baby to sleep while they use them. They have a variety of programs to make the exercise as easy or as demanding as you want. They tell you how far you cycle as well as how many calories you burn. Companies are examining new ways of organizing work teams to better meet the demand of the global economy. When people think about sports medicine, they often think about a team doctor treating an injured player on the field, but sports medicine also includes prevention of injuries. Critics of color psychology actually point to a number of problems. They believe that the research methods may be shoddy, and the relationship between color and human behavior is not biological. However, companies continue to follow the precepts of color psychology, and say that they can see the benefits of color psychology in increased sales and customer loyalty. Ever since the Industrial Revolution, people have turned away from nature in an effort to make progress. We have learned how to burn and destroy things in nature to create energy or to engineer new materials like concrete, asphalt, and glass, with which we've covered a natural landscape. Water moves around Earth in all three states, as vapor, gas in the atmosphere, as a liquid in rain, rivers and lakes, and as solid as snow and ice. The process by which water moves about and charges state is called the hydrological cycle. The hydrological cycle has four stages: evaporation, condensation, precipitation, and runoff. As long as there have been farmers, they have saved the seeds from the current year's crop so that it can be planted the next year. In fact, saving seeds is one of the oldest activities continuously performed by humans. Organized farming began during the Neolithic Revolution, the time about 12,000 years ago when humans began to organize permanent settlements. The recent sheds new light on a common human behavior of telling a lie. The study examined how well people can falsify the facts. Specifically, the study considered whether telling a lie made people better at convincing others that they are telling the truth. The design of the study used volunteers who agreed to tell lies to other volunteers who were listeners. Basically, I'm happy with my e-reader, but I still love my local bookshop. I regularly spend hours there at the weekend looking at all the covers. Possibly, I'll read for a while, too. But then if I like a book, I don't buy it at the shop. I just go to the shop's cafe and download a cheap, digital copy. In psychology as well in medicine, the term stress is relatively new. To no one wonder, the first usage of the term being noted around 1940s. Up until that time, the word stress was mostly used in physical science, architecture, and engineering fields, to describe the strains that force and motion put on objects. At the beginning of each fiscal year, funds are allocated to each state account in accordance with the university's financial plan. Funds are allocated to each account by objective expenditure. Account managers are responsible for ensuring that adequate funds are available in the appropriate object before initiating transactions to use the funds. While blue is one of the most popular colors, it is one of the least appetizing. Blue food is rare in nature. Food researchers say that when humans searched for food, they learned to avoid toxic or spoiled objects, which were often blue, black or purple. When food dyed blue is served to study objects, they lose appetite. How do we imagine the unimaginable? If we are asked to think of an object, say, a yellow tulip, the picture immediately forms in our mind's eye. But what if we try to imagine a concept such as the square root of a negative number? The core of the problem was the immense disparity between the country's productive capacity and the ability of people to consume. Great innovations in productive techniques during and after the war raised the output of industry beyond the purchasing capacity of U.S. farmers and wage earners. How quickly this occurs depends on the dynamics of fertility, mortality and overseas migration. While a moderate pace of demographic change allows for gradual adjustment of the economy and policies to the changing population demographics, rapid changes are more difficult to manage. As a result, governments and society as a whole may need to take actions to address these issues.